Hi Trevor, this is Jim Gillis with Win My Vote and the National Student Parent Mock Election. No worries about the call reschedule. Next week works for me, and I'll get back to you on email about that. But I wanted to get this to you as soon as possible. And sorry about not having my camera on. I'm not in the office right now, and the background is really distracting. So what I wanted to talk with you guys about is sponsoring, funding, partnering, somehow getting involved with the National Student Parent Mock Election. And then a brief history on that is that it started out as the NBC Parent Participation TV Workshop back in 1980. And they did this great National Student Parent Mock Election. And then the people that were involved in that then moved on and formed their own nonprofit, nonpartisan organization called the National Student Parent Mock Election. And they grew that. And they grew that election by election till about 1992. They had the height of 5 million. And then since then, the last couple of elections, it's sort of dissolved, and people are moving on and doing stuff. And a lot of the people that started it in the 80s were retired and elderly. And for example, Gloria Kirchner, who was sort of the last person standing in the 2016 election, has now, because of health conditions, has now retired. And it was going to just sort of, fizzle out and die. Now, myself and a couple of board members would like to make some changes, bring that mock election from the paper ballot to an online version. And I did that in 2016 with my company, which I'll show you what that looks like, which is called Win My Vote, which is, is a ballot where voters can go up and they sign up, they put their zip code in, and they can see all the candidates and all the races up and down their ballot. They can watch videos, and then they can favorite the ones, that they plan to vote for. So we ended up building these National Student Parent Mock Election ballots for all the schools, and we made some modifications to the sign up and those types of things. But we do have lots of work to be done if we really want to put on a really good mock election. So we're looking at numbers easily into the 5 and 10 million users if we can build a really good product, a great landing page, an easy sign up, and then obviously the ballots. Now most of that stuff is already done. We just need somewhere in the neighborhood between 10 and 15,000 to finish it up, and then maybe 5,000 or so to do some social media and outreach programs. Now we have all of the emails and the contact information for teachers throughout the country and secretaries of state and heads of school districts. But what we're missing is a lot of the homeschoolers, and then also a lot of it's hard, I don't know how to put this, but just the younger teachers that no longer want to, that have sort of moved on and kind of do their own thing a lot of times in the classrooms. They use Khan Academy. They use, we talked to the bunch that use Prager University for some information, that use YouTube and a variety of these other type of online things, and they've kind of moved away from paper ballots and how things were done 25 years ago. So we really want to be able to reach them as well. So anyway, would love to talk with you about it and to give you an idea. The student lands here, and then they can click on any one of these candidates here to learn a little bit more about them. So if they've heard of Gary Johnson but they want to learn a little bit more about him, they click on his profile and they can read his bio, they can read some other information here, they can watch videos.
I'm Gary Johnson, candidate for President of the United States, and I approve this message.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson.
I'm Governor Bill Weld.
I'm running for president.
I'm running with him.
As the governor of New Mexico, I vetoed wasteful spending 750 times, cut taxes 14 times, and left the state with...
And then there's a variety of other things that they can do here as far as looking at issue statements that the candidate has made, and then they can go back to their, if they want to vote for this candidate, they can favorite the candidate here, or they can go back to their ballot and they can favorite the candidate here. So if they want to do that, they favorite that candidate, he moves into the first position, his nameplate turns green. They can also kind of see how that candidate is doing in the mock election. And this is where the teachers can do things where if they want to have a mock election, all at once, come up and vote and go sit down, or if they want to do a week-long, process where the kids debate and they comment and they share candidates and they go through that process. They may even change their vote. They may say, you know what, after watching Jill Stein, then that's who I'd like to vote for. And it's sort of real time, and then we'll shut it off at a certain point. I can tell you a great story about June of 2016. We did the National Association of Student Council mock election. That was 1,100 kids at their annual convention up in Oregon. We put it on the big stage, on the big screen. They all whipped out their cell phones and tablets and Chromebooks. They started looking at the candidates and talking about it. And it was great because it didn't matter if Hillary Clinton was going to spend $100 million on her campaign, and Evan McMullin was going to spend $1 million on his campaign. They were right here on this level playing field. The students could drill into their profiles, learn a little bit about them, and decide for whom they're going to vote. Right? They didn't need Facebook bots. They didn't need TV ads or robocalls or lawn signs or any of those types of things that always give the advantage to the candidate that's willing to spend the most money. Here, it really was a level playing field. It was a great experience because the kids also knew more about each candidate than your average voter. The mock election is totally free. So it's free to teachers, free to groups, organizations, and I can talk with you, about how all that stuff that works on our call. So hopefully this helps a little bit and kind of gives you a primer to some of the things that I'd like to talk with you about. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.